good evening, good afternoon. Welcome all, and thank you for participating in this event. An event that puts an end to the first cohort of the program, Skills for International Lawyers. The aim of this modest encounter is twofold. On the one hand, to celebrate that you have successfully completed the program. And our second objective is to take stock and to evaluate the developments during these 3 years. Well, first, I'm going to give the floor to Gemma Tomás. She's the Dean of the Deusto Law School, and from the very beginning, she's been very active, and in a sense, she's the mother of the idea of Skills for International Lawyer. So, Gemma, thank you, and you have the floor.
Muchas gracias, Felipe. Muy buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Voy a intervenir en castellano. Quería, ante todo, como decana, saludaros a todos y a todas por estar aquí, por dedicar este rato que vamos a estar juntos para celebrar esta primera promoción de este programa que se llama Skills for International Lawyers. Pero ante todo, desde luego, desearos que estéis bien en esta situación tan extraña en la que seguimos estando, en esta pandemia global. Hablando de un mundo internacional y hablar de juristas internacionales, creo que lo estáis viviendo en primera persona, ¿no? Fortaleza, responsabilidad, honestidad, pues se han puesto a prueba, ¿verdad?, para todos nosotros durante estos últimos meses. Bueno, la verdad es que me alegra muchísimo estar en este momento con todos vosotros y vosotras, porque como decía Felipe, que me atribuía la maternidad de este título, pues no está muy alejado de esa idea. Y le dimos muchas vueltas hace 4 años, por ahora, en poner en marcha en la facultad un título en inglés basado en competencias. Un título novedoso, de hecho somos muy pocas las universidades que ofrecemos este programa, combinado con los estudios de Derecho. La idea es aprender a hacer las cosas de otra manera, a tener una visión global, a mirar el derecho con ojos diferentes, a estar preparados para un mundo que es bastante distinto cada vez y bastante diverso. Eso no se puede entender de otra manera sino formándose ya desde el primer momento, desde los 18 años, con esa óptica. Me gustaría agradecer en primer lugar a Owen McGear, que ha llevado de la mano este programa durante estos años, que os ha conocido desde el primer momento y que de alguna manera este programa pues lleva su estilo. Los programas son más que asignaturas. Los programas y el resultado del aprendizaje es la suma de lo que hace el profesor y lo que hace el estudiante. Eso es lo que es universidad y en estos programas se nota más que en ningún otro. Agradecer también al profesor Miquel Mancisidor, al profesor David Fernández Rojo, a la profesora Sara Izaguirre, que no ha podido estar hoy con nosotros porque tenía un compromiso profesional, porque todos y cada uno de ellos han hecho posible dar contenido, ¿no?, a esas competencias que queríamos poco a poco ir incluyendo en el programa, desde habilidades lingüísticas, desde una visión de derecho comparado, desde técnicas formales e informales de negociación, desde ver de cerca cómo es una competición internacional, conocer cómo funcionan los tribunales internacionales y ponerse en la piel de los agentes y los personajes que participan en ellos. Bueno, pues todo eso es posible gracias a los profesores que están hoy aquí y que también son padres y madres de este programa. Así que es una paternidad y maternidad, si me permitís, compartida. Así que este plus que habéis aprendido, todavía os queda un año de estancia con nosotros, cuarto, pero me gustaría que este fuera un momento no solo de mirar hacia atrás y de congratularnos por lo que hemos aprendido, sino que esto es un momento también para mirar hacia adelante. Así que lo que uno aprende no es hablar en pasado, sino lo que uno aprende para seguir aprendiendo, que yo creo que esa es la mentalidad con la que hay que trabajar, en mirar hacia el futuro. Y pensando en el futuro, pues hemos traído hoy un invitado. Rafael Cid está hoy con nosotros, él es antiguo alumno, es abogado en Madrid, especializado en litigación internacional. Y muchísimas gracias, Rafael, por estar con nosotros y dedicarnos un tiempo a la Universidad de Deusto, que es tu alma mater también, hablando de madres. Y que bueno, pues nos vas a dar muchísimas ideas, pistas también, ¿no? De por dónde están las cosas, qué visión es importante y qué competencias y habilidades hay que tener fruto de tu larga ya experiencia en este terreno. Así que muchísimas gracias. Gracias también a Deusto Alumni, porque sin ellos este evento no se podría producir. Nos están ayudando logísticamente en la organización de este webinar online. Lo hubiéramos hecho en persona. De hecho, el profesor Owen nos hizo la propuesta de organizarlo presencialmente. Desgraciadamente luego ya vino la pandemia y esto ha sido imposible, pero no queríamos renunciar a estar con todos vosotros este rato, un rato breve, pero un rato compartido. Así que eso es lo importante. Y decía que Deusto Alumni no solamente nos da el soporte técnico, sino que también está con nosotros en ofrecer a los estudiantes toda la formación, la orientación también y esa visión internacional. El año que viene se seguirán organizando formación, por ejemplo, sobre empleo en Europa o posiciones, que cada vez en la Unión Europea pues debemos animarnos más para poder presentarnos y estar preparados para también desempeñar un trabajo como funcionarios de la Unión Europea, que es una oportunidad profesional interesante. Y de la mano de Deusto Alumni y el Foro de Empleo, pues se celebrará. Aprovecho la ocasión para agradecer a Jesús Riaño, director de Deusto Alumni, en este empeño compartido que tiene también con la Facultad de Derecho. No me extiendo más. Así que, bueno, agradeceros a todos, felicitar a los estudiantes por haber elegido hace unos años este programa y apostar con nosotros en este título, que sois la bandera, y esa bandera la tenéis que llevar muy lejos. Así que nada más, yo me voy a quedar con vosotros hasta el final, escuchándoos lo que decís. Nada más, nos seguiremos viendo pronto. Adiós, muchas gracias.
Well, thank you very much, Gemma. And now, as the Dean was saying, this event is co-organized by the Deusto Law School and Deusto Alumni. And now Juan Carlos Duque, as representative of Deusto Alumni, will have the floor. Thank you, Juan Carlos, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Gemma. Thank you, Felipe. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Well, just very little to say after the words of the Dean. So thank you very much for recognizing our help. We work together. We are a team, and we try to do it. Well, I wrote something because I'm just on behalf of Dr. Jesus Riaño, head of the Deusto Alumni, and on my own behalf, I would like to congratulate you for having reached this point in your studies in law. And at the same time, tell you that we will welcome you as Deusto Law alumni of this university. And as the Dean said, this university will be always your alma mater as soon as you finish your studies. So you must finish first, and then it will become that. So good luck and courage for the last year. Recent world events have highlighted the fragility of many of the institutions that we considered as guarantors of international stability. It is now up to you to face the last year of your studies in order to prepare yourselves properly and guide you to enter these international institutions or other companies and try to work to build a better world. But this is not what I'm supposed to talk about right now. I will briefly try to present what the University of Deusto offers you through Deusto Alumni. What is our motto? Deusto Alumni, the best travel companion for your professional career. As far as your professional development is concerned, we update our relationship with companies from all sectors that correspond to our university degrees. In our job bank, we combine the direct offers received, which we intermediate from our office through personalized attention to our former students and companies, with a collection of information on job offers and internships, both nationally and internationally. So to give you a figure, last year, last academic year, we gathered around 39,000 international offers, updated weekly. Through our job orientation program, we try to help you in the transition to the labor market, designing your strategy for the job search, the development of new and up-to-date professional skills, and the improvement of your working tools. Likewise, for the first steps after finishing your studies, we manage 2 scholarship programs for professional internships, both financed by the Basque government. One here locally in the Basque Autonomous Community. The name is too long, okay, but I'll try to repeat it carefully. Transition from the educational world to the working world. So politicians don't know what to do to make names longer than possible. We call it transition grants, okay? So for your information, when we talk about transition grants, this program for these internships locally, okay? Right after you finish your studies. And then the other program in the international field, the global training program, okay? But as far as you have another year with us, we will have time to talk about it, okay? You may find these and other information that will surely be of interest to you on our website, alumni.deusto.es, okay? We also have our digital magazine, Alumni Time, alumnitime.deusto.es, where you will meet alumni who share their life and professional careers with us. As soon as we are able to attend you in person, which I hope will be pretty soon, let's cross fingers for that, you will find us in the La Literaria building, the same building you're studying in, okay, we're just at the feet of the law faculty, in the same cloister, in the Claustro del Paraninfo. Okay, so we are there for you. You've got a friend in us, okay? Don't forget it. You've got a friend in us. We will try to be your best traveling companion in your professional career. Again, good luck and courage. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Juan Carlos. And now I have both the honor and the pleasure to introduce Owen McGeer. He's been with you during the three years, and as Gemma was saying, he is the co-pillar of this program. So Owen, thank you very much, and we are looking forward to listening to you.
Thank you very much, Felipe, for your kind words. It's also an honor and a pleasure for me to be working with you. And I'd like to expressly thank Gemma, the mother of the skills, since the beginning. 4 years ago, I remember when I had the interview with her, and I can just like to say that I felt completely supported and welcomed in the very prestigious university. And I'm very pleased with these 4 years. And also with you, Felipe, in the last 2 years. Probably protocol dictates that I have to say thank you to you, but I genuinely, both you and Gemma, from my heart, I mean it. I thank you very much for all of your support. From the beginning, and really, Gemma was the mother of it, but she gave me quite a blank slate, explained the general concepts of what the department were looking for, and really I was quite surprised, but left me quite free rein to plan my subjects. So a lot of trust and confidence was placed in me, and I hope I haven't let anybody down. So I really do thank you. I do feel part of the team at the law school. So it's been a really good 4 years. I'd also like to thank, I'm going to do a lot of thank yous. I'd like to thank Mikel, Sharon and David, the other teachers, for their collaboration on the skills. Again, I think we form a really good team. It all worked very, very smoothly for me. And last but not least, I would particularly like to thank the students, the 12 brave men and women who signed up to the skills program 3.5 years ago. They were really the guinea pigs, and I think they understand that as well, that, there's, and I thank them for their patience and understanding, because as with any course, we're not sure what works and what doesn't work. but they've been really good companions on this journey, and I equally hope I haven't let them down either. I think the students, I'd like to congratulate them particularly for their attitude. Throughout the 2 years and plus the third year when I was also in contact with them, I've been very impressed with their attitude throughout, of all of them, and overcoming, putting themselves into the fire, you know, placing their trust in the course, and really quite adventurous, I would say. I would say the students, we could characterize them by being quite adventurous. And really the progress that the students have made, when I had the pleasure and the honor to participate with David Fernandez on the moot court, and I had the opportunity to be the judge in the International Court of Justice, I was very proud of the students to see how much they've progressed in these 3 years. Because as we know, when I met the students, they were first years, and in the first years, kind of young kids, let's face it, kind of young kids. But then this year, when they performed at the moot, they really were beginning to look like very competent professionals. So again, I congratulate them for that. You know, so really, and now, according to my calculations this morning, I think the students are now halfway through their basic legal training. So that you've done 3 years at university, you've got one more year left at university for your law degree to graduate. Then you do a 2-year master's to become lawyers, or an LLM. So now you're at the halfway point, and really the progress has been remarkable. So congratulations to you all. I hope, and you know, I put a lot of effort and a lot of thought, a lot of love, I would also say, into preparing my subjects of the skills. They're both the legal writing and the public speaking. And I would like to think that a lot of the skills that the students you have obtained and beginning to perfect will really, you'll notice as you progress in your legal training and then your legal practice, how you can build upon these skills that we've been introducing to you now. Yeah? You should have a competitive edge. You know, you're entering into a very competitive field, but things like having the TOLS exam, participating in this course, it should give you the competitive edge when it comes to applying for your jobs, etc. I would like to think that this gives you that little boost over your competitors. If we look back at what we did, if you remember, we did in the first year, the first assignment we did, I don't know whether Felipe and Gemma know this, but the first assignment was suing the university. We sued the university and taught, okay? So we kept that a bit quiet. I was also the co-defendant, so I think I spilt coffee on the students, or I think the building wasn't properly maintained, slip and a fall. But anyway, they were planning to sue the university for quite a lot of euros. So that was our first assignment. The second assignment, well, you did the legal opinion, the dictamen. In our case, we did it on the Manada rape case. This year's students, I was thinking, you know, because I like to choose the case which is most relevant at that present moment. And this year, the students did a legal report on COVID, on the coronavirus, on the measures taken in Spain. Again, explaining the measures taken in Spain for a law firm in London. So trying to explain the Spanish legal concepts for a English legal market. Then in the second year, we did the advocacy, we did the presentation skills and the court advocacy. So again, so what I said before, I think all of these skills, they are things that you're going to be building on. Okay, so I hope you know that you've been introduced to them. We've worked on them. You're beginning to acquire the skills, but these are skills that you're going to be honing and perfecting throughout your professional life. As far as the attitude of the students go, of my students, okay, so it's true, Gemma is the mother of the skills. It is true, I do feel a bit like the father or something, or the big brother, or even like the shepherd. I was thinking the other day, it's a little bit like being a shepherd. You know, it's driving the flock. It's bringing you, and really none of you got lost on the way. I think that's very important. Nobody got lost on the way. We managed to bring you all. You've all graduated from this program successfully. You've put in a lot of work. You know, and so being your shepherd's been an honor. I in my role as the shepherd, I made a bit of a mistake when we were in London. If you remember, we did the London trip, and when we missed the plane, on the way. So this was all. It was all it was all done intentionally to practice team building, brainstorming. And everybody performed marvelously. Again, thank you to the faculty, to the law school, to Gemma and Felipe for bailing us out, because as you know, we were going to sleep in the airport when I telephoned you from Gatwick and said, shit, we've missed the plane. And the students, again, because of their good attitude, I remember the students said, oh no, you know, don't worry, Owen, because I was obviously very nervous and stressed. They were saying, don't worry, we'll just sleep in the airport. And I said, well, okay. And then when I telephoned Gemma, she said, no, please don't sleep in the airport. The university will pay for the hotel. so again, that was all a test. It was all a test of how you resolve and overcome problems as a team. And I thought that was a really good practice. You know, the students, you know, all of you, how I feel towards you, because you were the first cohort, as Felipe said, you were the first group. So I think I have a particular emotional and professional and pastoral bond with you. Okay, I do feel very close to you all, and I really would like you all to stay in touch. Okay, you know that I stressed, apart from stressing Brexit and reading The Guardian, I also stressed your LinkedIn profiles. Remember, so hopefully you've all got your LinkedIn profiles. That's the best way to contact. You've got Rafael there, you've got Mikel, you know, good contacts in the future. You never know when these professionals are always looking out to help young professionals on their starting out. So, and with me particularly, I would really like to hear about your progress, and I'm here, as I'm sure you all know, I'm here for anything that I can help you with in your professions. It would be an absolute pleasure and honor. Okay. So again, thanks all for joining. It's a pity, because I wanted, well, we were trying to organize like a cheese and wine, a little cocktail for the closing ceremony. Unfortunately, the public health crisis has made that impossible. But you know, so thanks for joining us here today. And now I'm not going to talk too much more, because I'm quite interested to hear what Rafael has to say. Okay. So thank you everybody for organizing this and for joining us, and hopefully we can see each other soon in person. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Owen, eskerrik asko, gracias. You've been, as I was telling in the very beginning, you've been one of the pillars, or the shepherd, as you've said, of the whole group, and we are very grateful to you. Well, and now I'd like to give the floor to Rafael. Rafael, as Gemma was saying, he's an alumni of Deusto. She studied in our law school some years ago, and then he opened a law firm in Madrid, focused on strategic litigation in the international arena, but with a specific focus on human rights law. So, Rafael, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and yeah, we are looking forward to listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's quite difficult to talk after the mother and the father of the program, and to make it interesting, but I'll try. I promise I'll try. So thank you. I mean, Gemma, Felipe, Owen, thank you all for inviting me to this. I mean, this is not just a normal class, or it's a farewell event. So I really feel quite honored, okay, to you really, and to let me really join this group and have the opportunity to share my experience, and hopefully to provide you with some useful information for your future. Okay, maybe you see it quite far now, but it's there. Okay, and now, I mean, these kind of skills you're learning, they are gonna be the basis really for your future. So it's gonna be important. So I will share, okay, a presentation. Okay, this one, I don't know if you see the presentation. Okay.
Yes, Rafael.
Scared, okay, this is not a formal presentation. I am aware that this is a farewell event, okay, and you will just see some pictures and images that, I mean, they will try to illustrate my speech and make it a bit more attractive, okay. So I've been asked to just to talk about my experience, okay, as a lawyer. As Felipe was saying, I'm a Deusto alumni. I've been practicing law for almost 14 years now, okay. I started as a commercial lawyer, and then I decided to change in a way and to start with Kentium, okay, our path in the strategic human rights litigation. Okay, that is a field of law that was not really much, at least evolved at the time 5 years ago. Now it's a little bit more, but that's why we started, and I will talk to you a little bit about it and about the skills that we think and we consider important for a lawyer to have in the human rights strategic litigation field. Okay, even if you are not interested, okay, in the human rights field, I mean, most of the skills and most of the experience I'm going to share are needed in whichever law-related profession, okay? And of course, I will stress the particularities of each of them in the human rights arena, but I hope they are useful for all of you, even if you are not interested in this field, okay? I guess you are not familiar with the concept of strategic human rights litigation. This is not about it, okay, but I will just give you a glimpse of what it is. Through this picture, okay, this small kid, I mean, she's Miss Brown, surrounded by three bodyguards, and this was 1954, and this is quite relevant in nowadays as well. This date, this was the day and the year in which the US Supreme Court ruled that separating children in public schools on the basis of race was unconstitutional. This is an iconic picture of human rights litigation. This landmark case was essential to advance in the civil rights of Black people in the US, and not only in the US, but also in the world. And this case is, I think, a very good example of what is strategic human rights litigation. Okay, it's the use of any legal means. It's you have, I wouldn't say hundreds, but plenty of books about this particular case, about how the lawyers were going through all the states in the US, how they were getting the evidence. It's really, I mean, you can even read novels about this case, and it's quite interesting if you're interested in this kind of things. But this is really a landmark case, and it's really, really iconic in the strategic human rights litigation, because you can see it is not just about achieving an individual victory, but about creating further change in society and advance in a progressive implementation of human rights, and generally focus on protection and access to justice for vulnerable groups. Today, we are also seeing in the news another case that will be iconic and will be a landmark case as well. Is the case that has been brought before the Audiencia Nacional against Ignacio Montero, former general and ex-vice president, I think, vice minister of defense of El Salvador, for the assassination of Ignacio Yacuria and other 4 Jesuits in El Salvador back in 1989. This is another good example of what is strategic human rights litigation. Okay, so for you just to frame, okay, our work, the work we do in Gentium, and the work plenty of NGOs are doing all over the world. But now, okay, we go into the skills issues, and here I want to stress, and I do it honestly, really, how lucky you are for having this opportunity to have this program, really. I mean, when I was in the university some years ago, okay, these kind of skills were not really treated even. I mean, and I can promise you that writing and speaking, just writing and speaking are the basic tools of every lawyer. It doesn't matter in which field, of course, and we all know it. And sometimes it is much more difficult than you can expect. And it requires a lot of training as well. And that's why training these kind of skills in university is really key for to be a good professional really in the future. Here you can see about the case I was commenting before, just a paragraph where you can see really which was the conclusion of the Supreme Court in the US in this case. And I mean, you have plenty of materials about the case, okay? So I just wanted, I know this is not a class, I just wanted to give you some examples and some very, very brief tips about why it's important, I mean, to follow, I mean, this kind of rules when you are trying to write, and then we will see when you are trying to speak in public before a judge, or when you have to communicate with the human rights victim, really, and why this is important for you as a professional in the future. Simple in this particular characteristic of how you should write really when you are really exercising as a lawyer. I just want to give you one tip, is just to read one of Lord Denning's judgments. I'm sure Owen is very familiar with Lord Denning, and I don't know if you've gone through their judgments in the program, but he's one of the main examples of how you can treat really complex issues with a very simple language. Here you have an opening line of one of his judgments. It happened on April 1964. It was global time in Kent. I mean, this is something you will not find in any Spanish Supreme Court decision. I mean, you can be sure about it. He was really remarkable in using really simple phrases, in simple argumentation in very complex cases. Of course, he was a judge, he was not a lawyer, but I can assure you that when I'm focusing, I have to draft complex documents, complex appeals before the Supreme Court or before the European Court of Human Rights or whatever, I tend to come to the Lord Denning's judgments, because you can see how simple words can be much more effective than any kind of complex grammar construction comes to your mind. And this is really, really important when you are trying really to convince a judge or a tribunal. So this is not just theory. I mean, this is really something you should try to keep into your heart when you're really trying to face a complex issue and write about it. Then we come to the be clear really when you're writing. And the reason is really practical. I mean, almost all the tribunals in the world, in the human rights field, of course, but even in other fields of law, are completely overloaded. Okay, you can see here that in this year, the European Court of Human Rights, there are still around 60,000 cases pending. So what does it mean? This means that your complaint, your appeal will be read really, really fast, very fast, that the reader has no incentive at all to accept your arguments. They will try to admit it, really, most of the times, of course. And then if you are not clear enough, the chances of your challenge to be accepted are drastically reduced. And I can promise you, I mean, the judge will have your case and will think most of the times, of course, that they have a pile of other cases that they have really to review after yours, and being clear is really, really important. And I can assure you as well, in my 14 years of experience, this is not an exaggeration. I would say that not even 30% of all the documents I've seen, of all the complaints and appeals coming from lawyers, not even 30% comply with all these requirements we're looking at. So, and this is really important, and it's getting more and more important, taking into consideration what is the overload of all the tribunals, not only tribunals, even international organizations, the UN committees, the UN Children Committee, I mean, all of them are facing increasing case overload and decreasing resources. So it's really, really important for you to be clear always when you're drafting one of your documents. About being concise as well. This is one of the most important challenges in the human rights field. Why? Because of the subject and the nature of the subject and the kind of cases you handle, that generally you have no plenty of evidence, you don't have much evidence generally, and there is a temptation to be vague and generic. And take into consideration that in strategic litigation, in international strategic litigation, what does it mean international here? Generally, you have to exhaust all your national remedies before. Then you have to come to the European Court of Human Rights or any UN committee or whichever treaty body you want to reach, really. It means that you have to go step by step and be really, really precise if you really want to really be sure that you can have your case being handled by the European Court of Human Rights, for example. And here in the human rights field, there's, as I was saying, a temptation of being generic because it's something that generally, I mean, when you are a lawyer and you're defending a victim, you have your arguments very clear, but it's quite difficult to connect them with the facts sometimes. And this connection, I tell you, is of the essence if you really want to reach your objective here. Okay, avoiding this temptation, I promise, is key to succeed in this field. An example, for example, during this state of alert we took over in Gentium, a case on human rights violations of asylum seekers, which were living in very poor conditions in the border of Spain, okay? Law was not really clear about which administration really was the administration with some competence really, and which administration could be liable really for these violations of human rights. This was the key. I mean, you had then all your arguments about the violations themselves, but you really needed to be precise about which administration was the liable administration. If you were not able to be precise on this point, the case would be really withdrawn and would not be accepted by even the first judge looking at the case. So please take this into consideration when you are studying and drafting legal documents in this field. And it doesn't mean to be necessarily, I mean, it means to be brief, but most important to be meaningful and to be precise in what you are doing. Finally, and this is, I would say, the most enjoyable part of litigating in human rights, and it's about being powerful in your arguments. And this is the field to be powerful. And you have many examples of even judgments, and even I've read plenty of complaints and appeals, which are really powerful. I mean, it doesn't, legal arguments do not have to be boring and do not have to be neutral. You can be creative and you can express your ideas and your arguments being precise, but as well being really, really powerful. You have here an example of dissenting opinion of Louis Brandeis, that's a very famous judge as well in the US, about he was disagreeing about whether Miss Whitney could be convicted by attending an American Communist Party event. And I mean, I'm not gonna go through it, but you have a perfect example here of how really you can be a lawyer. And this is not, I mean, being powerful is not just for politics or even any other profession. I mean, we can be creative and do and create these kind of arguments as well. Finally, about the speaking, of course, you can, and here I just wanted to talk about two particularly important issues and skills you may have always in mind, or I would say you should always keep in mind. Aside of applying the same method, of course, it's about communication. It's about knowing really your audience, and in this regard, Here you will face the both extremes of the communication chain, I would say, and both are equally important. Everything will start with your victim, and you will really have to listen and to understand the human rights victim. This is the most sensitive and important part of your work, and you should really remind it when you are really dealing with these kind of cases. We as lawyers are not trained to listen to victims, and this is truly, truly important. Listening skills and experience are key to improve this ability, really. Then we have to, of course, to translate it into judge language. And surprisingly, we are generally more capable of communicating effectively with judges than with normal people, but never, never forget that everything starts with the victim's story. And in these kind of cases where you will not have much evidence, really not many documents, I mean, the story and being able to really understand and communicate with the victim will be key to succeed really in these kind of cases. Okay. And finally, I don't want to make it really long. Here, the last piece of advice: keep your own voice. I mean, following all these criteria does not mean to be neutral. Does not mean to be like a robot and to make it really all look equal, really. You can really follow this criteria and not to forget that is your voice, that is your document, that is your argument, and that of course is your fight against human rights violations. They come from you. And this is very important when you're reading that document to see some personality in it. If you don't do it, this is something that is lacking something. This is about the victim story. This is about a human right violation. Don't forget it. Don't get too technical. Don't forget it. Okay, and this comes with the last tip, okay, which is try to watch 12 Angry Men. Okay, this is amusing and a great classic that will make you believe in justice. Of course, if in some point of your travel being a lawyer, you lose it. Okay, so thank you very much for listening. And of course, good luck and thank you for having me here.
Okay, thank you, Rafael, for your very inspiring talk, and you are very useful. Suggestions and proposals to the students, and I mean not only to the students, also for us as professors, as human rights professionals. Thank you very much for your talk. Well, now we can open perhaps some time for questions or comments to the presentation just made by Rafael Cid, and I'm addressing especially to the students to see if you have any question, any point to be clarified or to be discussed further by Rafael. Where we can have some 5-10 minutes for questions and answers. Any question, any point? Yeah. Okay, who wants to break the ice? Yeah. Okay, Joaquin.
I would like to ask, in the human rights field, where do you find the cases, or how do you find the cases, or how do you address to the victims?
Okay, we generally, are in contact with NGOs, field NGOs, okay, everywhere in Spain, in fact. So we started, for example, we are not, for example, in Gentium, we are not all lawyers. We have also social workers and people coming from the field, most of them from the migrant related legal issues, and minors as well. And then we started to open our field of expertise to other kind of vulnerable groups. And this is about being in contact with the people in the field, and it's about creating the network. And this is really, really important, because sometimes even the language with them is not always is different, and for them to feel that they have you really there with you with them, and that you are able to help them, and not to, sometimes they see, I mean, they sometimes they don't trust too much into strategic litigation, and you really have to let them know that you can be helpful. And this every time we've had to do it, to approach them, I mean, you see that there's a great space really to cover. And if you are able to understand their language, I mean, they will trust you. So the idea is just to be always in contact with the field. That means that you really are updated about what is happening to those vulnerable groups, and then you can really help them from a litigation perspective.
I have a question. Well, it's a really specific question, but to work in the field of human rights, or maybe in your law firm or wherever, it is necessary to have, I don't know how it is said in English, but el máster de acceso a la abogacía.
I mean, if you really want to represent a case, you must.
Yeah.
But of course, I mean, there's a lot of research work, there's a lot of other kind of work that you can do. I mean, and of course, as Owen was saying, and Felipe, I mean, it's a possibility to always to collaborate and just to help any NGO or any law firm in this field to make a different kind of work that is really, really helpful and needed. Okay, but representing, of course, a case and a victim, I mean, you will not be able to do it. But the other, there's nothing additional. I mean, it's for this. I mean, strategic litigation is always. I mean, when it comes to making them making litigation a reality, it means just to file a complaint, and of course, you have the same requirements as in any other field of law. Okay, but all the previous work, of course, I mean, you can help in any NGO and be really, truly helpful with it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, a very last question, a very last point. Before, yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Rafael, and thank you to the students. But of course, as Rafael was saying in the beginning, we are planning some sort of cooperation with Gentium, with his law firm, and well, you'll be updated about it. And but I'm sure we will be able to articulate a fruitful cooperation between our institutions. Well, and now it's the time for the students. I mean, you are the key protagonists of this successful story. But as our dean was saying in her presentation, we want to look back, but to improve the future. So that's the point, the way forward. That's the most important, and that's why we've asked you to make a kind of an evaluation of these 3 years, to see what things went well, but what I'm sure there's room for improvement. So we would like to listen to you, and that I think that Irene, are you going to speak on behalf of your colleagues? Okay, so you have the floor, Irene, and thank you for collecting this evidence and for articulating the responses of the students. Thank you, Irene.
No problem. So we are generally pretty happy with the program, and we think that all four subjects have been really interesting, but we think that maybe the change of the program that made the program to be the 2 last courses on this year was a mistake, because we think that it's not very realistic that all of us are going to do the Erasmus of the whole year. So we think that it would have been better if we had negotiation methods on third degree and muting skills on fourth. And this is because we think that in the first semester of this year, we had a lot of subjects in law that were pretty hard and that required us to do a lot of work, and we didn't have time to prepare the muting skills one as well as we would like to prepare it. So we think that we didn't invest the time that that subject would have needed because we didn't have time for the rest of the subjects. So maybe I think that in order to have this program be the best, maybe instead of putting the 2 courses on third degree, we couldn't change the negotiation methods to fourth and the muting skills to third, because the Erasmus is on fourth and negotiation methods can be done online, so it's not that much of a problem. But we generally, with the rest of the subjects, we are very happy, and we think that all of them were very helpful. And we want to thank Owen because he has been there for us through all these years, and to David and Mikel because they have been also here, and they have made things more easy for us. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, any other of you wants to add something to what Irene has just said? Any other point? Any other? By the way, we would like to, if you are, I mean, if it's okay with you, we would like to get the evaluation, the written responses, because for us, once again, it's very important the way forward, and to see how to improve the program, both in terms of the format, in terms of the division of the courses, but also in terms of the content, of the substance of the program. So any other comment, any other suggestion, any other proposal? Yeah, Julio, please. Turn the micro. Good.
Yes, I completely agree with Irene based on the fact that I think that the subject of muting skills is key in this program, based on the fact that it gives you like more, puts you in touch with the reality of how we can work in the future. So I think that the idea that Irene gave, based on what we said, it's really important based on the preparation that that subject should have. That's my personal opinion. Thank you.
Okay, well, we have a kind of a solution for it, and I think that David is going to explain how we are going to organize these 2 courses and how muting skills is going to work next academic year. So, David, please.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is something that they know as well, because the thing is that we work very closely with the Jesuit team. This is something that, of course, when I talked to Owen, and of course, Felipe and Gemma, they know that it's very important for you to basically work at the same time that the students of the Jesuit are working. So that's why the timing of the muting skills is so tight in that way. So it's very important for you to be working simultaneously in different cases as they are doing. So for the next year, as I think is going to happen, it will be an annual course, I think, right? So in that way, that's how muting skills is going to change. So it's going to be more flexible in that way, because this year we did it kind of in that way as well. but we were trying, basically, that was the main intention of the multi-skills part, to make it go simultaneously with the Jesup, because basically you're doing the same thing. And actually I think this year, but maybe the students can say this, but I think that collaboration between the Jesup team and the multi-skills students was very nice. I think we actually had a session in which the Jesup students were providing feedback as judges to the students of the multi-skills. So I think this is, of course, this is still room to grow and to make it better. But I think for the first year, this type of experience improved. And I think like for next year, in terms of changing the schedule, how the course is going to be organized will also improve. But thank you for the feedback, of course, from the students.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Any other point? Any other comment? We are very happy. Yeah. Okay. Well, the dean has to leave. Thank you, Gemma, for being with us, and thank you for making this program possible. And thank you. Gracias.
Adiós. Adiós.
Good. Okay. Any other comment? Any other point before we give the floor to the other two protagonists, the other two lecturers of the program? Any other comment? No? Good.
To maintain the travel to London.
Please, Aguiña, please.
To maintain the travel to London, because I think that is a really big opportunity to know maybe like, or to see in a closer way everything that we have learned during those 2 years. I don't know. I think that was, for me, was a really, really big, I don't know. I think that is something that every student of skills should have the opportunity to do that.
I mean, we will maintain it, provided you don't miss the plane. Okay, so that's our main concern. No, I mean, to be honest, the idea of this year was, as Owen has explained, and we were planning. Actually, we were planning the visit to London because we are convinced that this is one of the highlights of the program, and of course we will. But due to the circumstances, it is not feasible. It is not possible. But for sure, we will introduce it for next academic year for 2021 for sure. Yeah. Okay. Any other proposal? And London is an option, of course, and with the help of Owen, but we can also think of The Hague to visit, well, the International Court of Justice, the ICC, the International Criminal Court. I mean, there are a number of options, but of course, London is one of the priorities. Yeah. Okay. Okay. A very last comment. Very last suggestion. No. Okay, so now I'd like to give the floor to David. David joined the team of the skills for international lawyers this year. As you know, he's the responsible of the team that prepares the Jesup competition. And yeah, David, please. Well, first of all, thank you very much for your cooperation. And yeah, you have the floor.
Well, thank you very much. I don't know what to say, because if the father is taken, the mother is taken, then I don't know what is my role. But anyways, I would just like to say that I truly appreciate all the support that I received since I joined the team. I mean, of course, to Gemma that she just left, to you, Felipe, of course. Mainly to Owen. I mean, he's been so flexible to me. I mean, he's always cool about anything I suggest him to do. He gave me a lot of leeway. And he made me very welcome in order to organize multi-skills. So I truly appreciate that. So thanks a lot for that. And when I was preparing this presentation, this is something quite special. I don't think many people know here. So these students that I prepared this year for the multi-skills, they are also the first students that I taught ever in my life at the university. So the first time I taught public international law, and actually the first time I taught in my life at the university, actually substituting Felipe for 1 year. It was with these students. So it's actually quite, I don't know how to say it, but it's, I would say emotional for me to see now that these students are almost finishing. And it was so great to see them in multi skills. Something that Owen and we realized during the muting session at the very end, and this is the nice thing of seeing again some familiar faces to whom you have taught, is that they grew up so much. And actually, I think Owen was a bit nicer than I was drilling them with questions, so I wasn't that nice though. But I mean, I was so surprised, and so I'm in a positive way, very surprised in the way that you answer the questions, that you were just smiling, you were so confident, like really like lawyers. And I have to admit, I mean, doing this in English is not easy at all. And actually taking into account the time, you know, like that typical experience that you will have in front of a court of justice. So that was a great experience. There's still a lot to do and a lot to grow, and the feedback from the students is great. I've learned a lot also, because I think, and I told the students at the time, this was going to be a learning experience for me to teach in something called muting skills, because as I told in the first day, skills is something that they need to practice. It's not something I can really teach them. So I can just tell you for 1 hour what you are supposed to do, but if you don't practice, of course, I mean, it's going to be impossible that you're going to learn the skills. So in that, I will just like to end as I was starting. Thanks, Owen, for the flexibility to try to teach in a different way, in a more practical way. And also thanks to the students for the flexibility and for understanding that there are different ways to learn, that is not actually just the professor lecturing and the students just nodding and saying, oh yes, everything is very interesting, but rather than doing something that is more difficult, that is practicing and doing and answering questions when the professor is basically drilling you. So thanks a lot to everyone.
Okay, thank you, David. And now I pass the floor to Mikel Mancisidor, that he also joined this last academic year to Skills for International Lawyers. And well, thank you, Mikel, and yeah, we are looking forward to your words.
Gracias, Felipe. Yo también me quiero sumar a los agradecimientos. Es una pena que la decana haya tenido que abandonar la reunión, porque más que agradecerle, quería reconocerle públicamente su valentía a la hora de decidirse a diseñar y a lanzar este programa, que al principio pues, no fue nada fácil para ninguna de las personas que participó en su lanzamiento, y requería pues, de esa valentía que ella tuvo. O sea que el agradecimiento, por supuesto, a Gemma y a ti también, Felipe, como parte de ese equipo. Agradecimiento extensivo a Owen, que ha sido un fantástico director, coordinador de este programa, tanto desde el punto de vista de los contenidos como desde el punto de vista de la coordinación de los equipos que hemos participado. Quería también felicitarle, aunque no estaba dentro de mi programa hacerlo a Rafa, por una presentación que ha hecho, que ha sido fantástica, y que has hecho muy bien, Felipe, en decir que no solo era útil para los estudiantes. Yo he aprendido un montón y se lo agradezco. A mí me toca estar en ocasiones en el otro lado de la mesa, por así decirlo, como miembro de un grupo de trabajo de un órgano de tratados que recibe comunicaciones individuales. Y la verdad es que apreciaría mucho que los casos, las demandas, las comunicaciones estuvieran planteadas basadas en esas guías que nos ha presentado Rafa. Únicamente como representante del otro lado de la mesa le diría que es muy cierto que los órganos de Naciones Unidas cada vez recibimos más casos y tenemos menos medios para responder a ellos adecuadamente. Pero yo no diría que nosotros tratamos de declarar, casi diría por sistema, automáticamente la inadmisibilidad de los casos. Todo lo contrario, te puedo asegurar que allí donde hay una posibilidad de ver la luz en un caso, aun cuando esté complejamente presentado, pues creo honestamente que hacemos lo mejor, que empleamos la mejor de nuestras capacidades para intentar salvar el caso, cosa que no siempre se consigue. Finalmente, en agradecimientos a los alumnos, y esto va muy de corazón. Yo diría que a vosotros, a los 12 que estáis presentes, y también a los, si me permitís, que añada a los 10 Erasmus que tuvimos, al menos en el semestre que a mí me tocó, porque fueron alumnos Erasmus que complementaron, no sé si estáis de acuerdo o no, pero complementaron muy bien el equipo. Ha quedado dicho ya que habéis sido pues, un poco conejillos de indias para muchos de nosotros y para mí también. Para mí era la primera asignatura entera que daba en inglés. Para mí era la primera asignatura que se me pedía un cambio de actitud de la clase tradicional, de la asignatura, a una propuesta pues más, más práctica, más de capacidades, menos de presentación clásica, algo que estoy más acostumbrado y que no fue fácil para mí en todas ocasiones, pero lo que sí tengo que decir es que en todas las ocasiones, incluso las clases que salieron bien y las clases que salieron pues un poco más regular, me encontré siempre con un grupo muy constructivo, muy con ganas de corresponsabilizarse en el éxito de la clase, de participar. Me ha parecido muy significativo y que identifica muy bien lo que sois como grupo, el resumen de las propuestas que ha hecho Irene en nombre del grupo, porque si os dais cuenta, han sido presentadas en términos de poder aprovechar más el curso, en términos de poder participar más responsablemente, en términos de poder trabajar mejor en la asignatura, ¿no? Las propuestas que habéis hecho de cambios, y eso pues dice mucho de vosotros. Yo por mi parte, en el curso que hemos dado, pues me daría muy por satisfecho si hemos abierto un poco una ventana de interés, de curiosidad por ciertos casos internacionales. Si os acordáis, pues vimos Sudáfrica, vimos Irlanda, vimos la forma de negociación de Trump, vimos la forma de negociación de los distintos responsables del Brexit. Pero más, como estamos diciendo que este es un curso con una orientación práctica, pues yo os pediría que recordáramos todo aquello que vimos, sobre todo al principio, ¿no? de diferenciar la persona del conflicto, de saber distinguir el interés de la posición. Estoy seguro de que muchos de vosotros cuando empecéis vuestra carrera profesional, pues os vais a encontrar en algún momento en el que estas herramientas os van a ser útiles. Y a mí me encantaría que en alguna de esas reuniones o conflictos que tengáis de pronto, se os encienda la bombilla de, bueno, aquí está esta idea de distinguir la persona del conflicto, aquí está esta posibilidad de saber distinguir el interés de la posición, me sirve. Y que eso os resulte útil y que de pronto pues recordéis con cariño estas clases que hemos dado. Yo creo que para mí ese sería el mayor de los éxitos. Así que felicidades por haber alcanzado ya esta fase que tan exitosamente habéis alcanzado. Gracias de nuevo a todos. Y como ha quedado dicho, bueno, además de desearos buena suerte en el futuro, que sepáis que para nosotros esta relación no tiene por qué finalizar aquí con esta despedida, que parte de nuestro trabajo, tal como nosotros lo entendemos, es seguir acompañando a personas con lo mejor que tenemos. Y en ese sentido, pues que podéis aprovechar estos contactos que nosotros intentaremos responder lo mejor que podamos. Así que lo dicho, gracias y buena suerte.
Muy bien, gracias Miquel. Bueno, vamos a cerrar el acto, voy a acabar en castellano. Pues yo creo que hoy la palabra y el sentimiento que prevalece es fundamentalmente, por un lado, de congratularos por haber acabado, ¿verdad? Yo creo que es un momento realmente de felicitación y de júbilo. Sois la primera promoción para lo bueno y para lo malo, ¿verdad? Todavía es un programa que necesita maduración, es work in progress, ¿verdad? Y estamos en ello, estamos mejorando cada año, y por eso los cambios, cuando hay cambios no necesariamente es algo negativo, sino que el cambio es parte, ¿verdad? Parte de la dinámica de la mejora de las cosas, ¿verdad? Y por eso queríamos escuchar vuestra opinión, porque vuestra opinión realmente cuenta y vuestra opinión nos merece todo el respeto y por supuesto es un elemento que va a jugar a la hora de seguir avanzando en este programa. Entonces, en primer lugar, como decía, felicitaciones y en segundo lugar también agradecimiento. Agradecimiento hablando con Owen, con Miquel, con David. La verdad es que lo que nos contaban es que habéis sido un grupo muy especial, un grupo bueno, con una actitud de colaboración, de trabajo, de responsabilidad. Incluso el teamwork, ¿verdad? En Heathrow o en Gatwick, no sé dónde fue, ¿verdad? También fue parte del proceso, aunque no estaba preparado, ¿verdad? Pero parece que lo hubiera estado. Entonces, como digo, agradecimiento, pero también agradecimiento al profesorado que lo ha hecho posible y en particular sí quería subrayar el papel de Owen, que es bueno, pues el espíritu que está detrás de este programa. Y realmente Owen, bueno, pues la facultad está muy contenta y realmente, bueno, pues vamos a seguir con el programa. Y luego sí quería acabar con una primicia que es yo creo, parte del éxito del programa, parte del éxito del profesorado y parte del éxito vuestro como estudiantes, porque el año que viene vamos a tener que crear 2 grupos. Ha habido tal demanda de estudiantes que quieren hacer Skills for International Lawyers que bueno, vamos a tener pues 2 grupos casi de en torno a 25, 30 personas cada grupo. Y yo creo que esto habla por sí mismo, ¿verdad? Yo creo que esto habla del éxito, entre comillas, del programa, pero yo creo que os podéis considerar como parte de ese éxito y siempre llevaréis como medalla, bueno, pues que habéis sido la primera promoción de Skills for International Lawyers. Y luego ya por último, para acabar, una vez más, un poco recogiendo ese guante que os lanzaba Miquel Mancisidor, la relación no se acaba aquí, vais a seguir un año más todavía en la universidad, pero nos vamos a seguir encontrando en el camino si optáis por profesiones que junten nuestros caminos, ¿verdad? Hace unos meses me escribió un tal Rafael Cid, ¿verdad? Que luego descubrimos, pues bueno, pues que había sido antiguo alumno, yo le había tenido en clase, ¿verdad? Y nuestras carreras profesionales, bueno, pues se juntan y se vinculan, ¿no? Bien, pues ese tipo de trayectorias profesionales es algo que se puede producir en cualquier momento y estaremos encantados de escucharos, estaremos encantados de responder alguna petición que tengáis, alguna duda, alguna cuestión, porque vuestra alma mater pues siempre estará en Deusto. Entonces, sin más, muchas gracias. Thank you very much. Eskerrik asko. Y también gracias por estar aquí esta tarde. Nos hubiera gustado haber esa experiencia Cheese and Wine, ¿verdad? A la que se refería Owen. Si en septiembre la cosa mejora, septiembre, octubre, sí nos gustaría hacer algo, pero bueno, todo dependerá de cómo la crisis sanitaria vaya evolucionando y de las diferentes circunstancias. Muchas gracias y ánimo.